one of the beauties of community is that your life becomes really enriched by all the people in it in ways that you would have never expected. Having this time, it's a chance where we all get to learn and appreciate and grow. And like, the more you appreciate art and beauty and the more educated you are, just the more richness there is in life.
Welcome to the Circle Dwellers podcast, a production of the Protestant monastic order of Life Mission Fellowship. I'm your host, Matt Krell, here with Tim, and on the show we talk about living out the gospel in an intentional Christian community. And today, what we wanted to talk about is this very interesting and unique thing that we do during our church service, which is an arts and culture presentation. And there's many things that are, I think, surprising to people when they come visit us and attend our church service, but I think probably this is one of the most surprising stuff, because what we do is we talk about books that people are reading, or a classic movie. I do presentations on Shakespeare and the different Shakespeare plays. We've been talking about architecture or artwork as well. And we have like a 15-minute segment during the church service after we're all done with the worship segment and prayer, where we just talk about this stuff and talk about it from a Christian perspective. And yeah, a lot of people are really surprised by that. I guess that's been your experience as well, I suppose.
Yeah, a bit. I mean, I haven't really been to any other church where they've done this, so I guess
I definitely have.
You know,
I definitely have.
But yeah, I think it's a really special thing that I'm really grateful that the Holy Spirit has led us to have in our services, for sure. And I think one of the things that I really like is it very much helps combat the feeling that like Sunday is just this kind of separate thing from the rest of your life that doesn't connect with any, like, not that it doesn't connect, but there can kind of just be this bifurcation of like, there's
sacred time,
Sunday service, sacred time, yeah, and then just the rest of your lifetime, right? Yeah, even when you're living in like a intentional community, which is much more integrated, and we have a lot more liturgical practices and stuff, all of that helps. But this is another way that I feel like it really reinforces that, you know, all the aspects of life Christ cares about, that, you know, that is all consuming. It's not just like, oh, you know, there's the arts and that's just a separate thing.
Yeah.
But that, you know, that is something that is fully integrated into the Christian life as well. And that the Christian life embraces all of those things too, the true, the good, and the beautiful. And so by us having this time where we dedicate, we're going to talk about Jane Eyre, or we're going to, you know, talk about this artwork or this, you know, sonnet, or some kind of piece of opera, or anything like that. It shows that, you know, all of this is under the lordship of Christ, and that the appreciation of beauty and art is absolutely vital to our walk as Christians and to our in our discipleship.
Yeah. Now, I think that's that can be a little bit surprising to people to think of it that way. But the way you put it there, where we should be thinking Christianly about all of life, the media we consume, the different books we read and such, I think that helps you understand why it's we think it's so important, because, you know, it's nothing wrong with watching a Marvel film and just being entertained. I think last week we were talking about there's that interesting tension between art as entertainment versus art as transcendence and meaning, right? Well, there's nothing wrong with, you know, watching something just for relaxation, entertainment. But very often the people who are writing those stories or writing the book that you're reading or whatever, they're not Christian, and they're coming at life from a non-Christian perspective. And sometimes they may have a perspective on things that isn't truthful, and you may not know that. But and the reason on being able to understand why that is the case and what errors they might be making or such is because you as a human participate in story. Like the way you formulate your understanding of the world is as a story. So stories are far more important than I think we give them credit for.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Now we haven't really talked deeply about like what exactly we go over. So maybe we should spend a little time getting into the nitty gritty of like what things we talk about during our arts and culture presentation.
Yeah. So there's different topics that we've had, and we've rotated through different ones and having different series of things. So, but we've reviewed, I mean, everything. We do books, movies, we do visual art, painting, architecture, symbolism, Shakespeare, poetry, all those different things. I for many years was doing poetry, and I do review a poem. Well, there for a while I was doing it every month. Like we have like different weeks are different
We've
things,
had different pacing,
and we rotate through them. Yeah. So like I was doing it like once a month. It was a lot. And so each person who does the presentation kind of comes up with their kind of general format. The way I would do it is I would read the poem out, and then I would do a little bio about the poet who wrote the poem, and then talk about their poem, and then I would talk about like the structure of the poem and kind of the different elements, like what the rhyme scheme is, and the different kind of technical points about the poem that are worth looking at, and then kind of interpretation of the poem and how to think about it, what the poem is even saying, because you can read a poem out loud and you just be like, what did that even say? So go over and like help interpret, what questions to ask, and then what the kind of the themes are of the poem and everything. And then I would finish by reading the poem again.
Yeah.
So I did that for a long time. I've been doing symbolism, where I've kind of been going over some of Matthew Pageau's book on the language of creation, and his talking about the symbolism in Genesis as well, and some kind of other general symbolism things. Matt does Shakespeare, so you've been doing Shakespeare for a while. You haven't really. Are you getting close? You're not getting anywhere close to running out of Shakespeare to go over, are you? Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I doubled up a very slight bit because the latest thing I've been doing is going through all of the Henriade, which are all of the most of the historical plays from Shakespeare following the kings of England, starting with Richard II. So it kind of takes you through like the late Middle Ages all the way up through the beginning of the Renaissance and the Wars of the Roses and such. So I had to double up a little bit on that process because I've already gone over Henry V and Richard III, which are the two big famous plays in that entire cycle. But yeah, we got more to do for sure. There's a couple more I haven't even touched yet. I don't even know anything about. So then
yeah,
I don't think Dad would object to me just cycling through them again as well once I run out. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've redone quite a few poems that I've done before. Gone through so many of them, and like whenever I do them, I feel like sometimes I'll add a little bit to them, but I'm kind of reusing the presentation I did before, and I feel like, oh man, it's like everyone's heard all this, and like it's generally the feedback I get is like, oh, that was really nice. I don't even barely remember that at all, So I'm sure
it's true. It's really true.
You could do more of the Shakespeare again, because it's it's definitely not something that you just sinks in immediately. Like going over it again is always fun. And there's new things that you'll pick out, because even for like, it's only 15 minutes long, but there's you can have quite a bit of information can go on in there, and there's your brain can't even necessarily hold on to all of it for sure the first time you hear it.
I've had to it's a bit of an art form to actually figure out how to cram in an entire play in 10 minutes. I don't even talk about everything.
It actually is. I mean, I've definitely gone way too long on several of ours. Where
it's too easy. It's way too easy.
Yeah, it's really easy to go too long. I have to no, make this a lightning talk. It's got to go fast,
Yeah.
But it's fun.
A little prop for Shakespeare. Shakespeare is a Christian, and that's often a bit surprising when you read him because he can tend to get quite bawdy at times as an entertainer. But one thing that's really fascinating about him is that he has the moral imagination of a Christian, and there's a lot you can learn about not just history or politics and such, but a lot about very practical aspects about Christian living and how to think about difficulties you're going through your life and how to deal with lies and deception and such. One thing that's really cool about the Henriad is there's a whole theme about how do you raise a young man to take up the throne and become a good ruler who's going to serve his people. There's a whole interesting subplot around that. And what is honor? Is honor worth pursuing as a person? And remember, this is the Middle Ages, right? So the concept of honor is very much tied to a chivalric prowess of killing your enemies, and Shakespeare tackles that head on and talks about whether that's even noble or not, worth pursuing. Very interesting stuff. So even though it's just it's that boring play that I didn't understand, I had to read in high school or whatever, with Macbeth, whatever, it doesn't matter. There's actually a lot there to mine, but you often need someone to help you tease that out and help explain it to you, because it's definitely dense for sure. Pro tip: if you're going to watch Shakespeare, which is what I do, that's how I go through the plays. I don't read them because that's a disaster waiting to happen. I watch them, and when you watch them, turn the subtitles on. Thank me later.
Anyway. Come on, you could read the plays. That would be a disaster waiting to happen.
Well, yeah, fair enough. But I just get way more out of it when I can see someone's body language, right?
Sure.
Just reading it, what does falls mean? I don't know what that word means, right? It's almost impossible. But if you watch it, someone's an actor's putting all of their energy into what they're saying. So you can kind of get 80% of what they're saying, even if he's slinging tons of old English words at you.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
one thing that's nice that you could do now, I haven't actually tried this, but if you're reading on your computer, you could just copy and paste onto ChatGPT, and it would probably help you walk you through what stuff means.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool idea. I should try that.
There's probably plenty of training data that's it's trained on that, of Shakespeare commentary, so it's probably got a decent idea of what something would be saying.
Mm-hmm. Another thing we talk about a lot is visual art, and a lot of people are not aware of the amount of religious art that exists out there. Actually, Europe is, in Middle Ages was Christian. Catholic Church was everywhere. So there's lots of just paintings of Mary, paintings of biblical scenes, paintings of classical concepts too, as well. So we often use a lot of those paintings in our church service, as you've mentioned before, where our abbot, our father, and by father I mean Tim and I's actual biological father, will pick an artwork to theme the whole week around and the service around, and it's usually some a biblical scene or a kind of symbolic interpretation of a virtue, lots of different things like that. And there's tons of it out there. So for a long time, our mom was doing presentations on that, and then our sister Renee is now taking that up too. And that's really fun because oftentimes what makes a painting interesting isn't just the fact that it's pretty. there's often quite a lot going on with the composition or the ideas being presented as well. But it takes a little practice to see all that and to see what's the artist is doing and hinting to you through the painting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another thing we've talked about.
The other thing, I think the whole arts and culture time too, sort of is a microcosm of our communal life in general, in that just through the pattern of, one of the beauties of community is that your life becomes really enriched by all the people in it in ways that you would have never expected, so like for example, we have John does cathedrals and architecture. There's a good chance I wouldn't be so interested in architecture if we didn't have other people in our midst who found that really beautiful and spent a lot of time thinking about it and studying it and all those different things. And that's something he presents to us and shares, that I have other interests. I like reading poetry. I like doing, programming or different things. So I haven't spent as much time thinking about architecture, but having this time, it's a chance where we all get to learn and appreciate and grow. And like, the more you appreciate art and beauty, and the more educated you are, just the more richness there is in life. There's just knowing more about the classics, knowing more about how to read a poem and understand what's going on in there, or how to listen to some choral by Bach and grasp the beauty of that, just endlessly enriches your life. And but that's a lot of things to learn and develop as one person, but we kind of get to share all that, where someone else has done a lot of work appreciating that and can kind of make it accessible to the rest of us, and there's other talents, like, different people have different talents, where, it might be something physical with construction and everything, that allows us to have beautiful buildings and produce all these beautiful things that I would never do, because I'm not good at that. And I'm not gonna spend all that time learning that. And so if I wasn't in the body of Christ, sharing my life the way we're called to do as the body of Christ, I would be so much less enriched. But because we are a body, the different bodies have different functions, and my life is so much more full and spread, because people are able to share with me what I would have never had on my own. And so the arts and culture time, is like a microcosm of that for me too, where we have different people, where you share about Shakespeare, and I really like Shakespeare. I probably would study it more, but it's such a blessing to have you spend all this time studying, reading about these different commentaries on it and what people are saying, and you share that on a Sunday with us, and I get to be filled with that, in a way that I just wouldn't otherwise, because the algorithm doesn't feed that to me on YouTube, and I don't go out of my way to go find it.
I mean, heck, the reason I started the Shakespeare thing is because I wanted to get a handle on it, and it's a very dense, difficult thing. So I'm just going to sit down and try to figure this out, and that's how that started. Yeah, I completely agree. There's just no way I would have come to appreciate architecture or music or symbolism if people hadn't been doing lots of presentations on this every week in our Sunday service. My life would be so much smaller. But because of that, I've learned more about God. I've learned more about life just through something as simple as someone talking about Jane Austen. on a Sunday
Yeah,
service.
absolutely. Yeah. And some other things we do like we have we've gone through some Sister Wendy videos, watching Sister Wendy present some artwork and things. That's been really fun. I feel like there's definitely other things we've left out. My wife does music, and so she's done quite a few different things: classical music, hymns, all sorts of things like that. It's really fun. Is there anything else?
We did pick a way through this documentary years ago on the Apostles' Creed and like how it's used in different denominations and such. But that's the only other thing I can think of.
What? Yeah, I would just say like, finding a way to incorporate the arts and appreciation of beauty and education into your life with other people is really worth it. And it's a really wonderful practice to and I just encourage, if you're listening to this, like, try to see if you can find a way to incorporate that. Maybe you have like, it doesn't have to be a big thing. Like maybe every other week or once a week, you have a thing with your family where you watch a video, a Sister Wendy video about art appreciation or something, or or better yet, have someone in that group that you're going to do that with, like, find something and present on it, and do little essays on that. It's a wonderful way to just enrich each other's lives and grow in unity together. Heck, talk to your pastor and see, like, hey, maybe we can add that to the Sunday program somehow or something. It's been wonderfully enriching for us, and highly recommend it.
And to help you on with that journey, this video is sponsored by the Great Courses Plus. No,
it's not, unfortunately.
No, it's not. But we would say that
we'll take the sponsorship if you want.
Hey, if you want a sponsorship, yeah. But anyway, we do actually we do subscribe to the Great Courses Plus, and they are really, really good. So that is a great first step if you're looking for something to do. But anyway. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. If you liked anything, you learned something, please give us a like, subscribe, please comment below. We read everything we get. If you're listening to this on a podcast app like Spotify or such, by the way, we are on Spotify. So if you didn't know that, you can go check us out there. But please give us a 5-star review. That'd be really fantastic. And I think that's it.
Yeah, that was really fun to talk about that with you, Matt. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and thank you for your attention, and God bless your day.
God bless.